What if I told you there is a function in C++ that never returns, ever? Not because it's broken, but because it's built that way. It can make your code cleaner, faster, and even more secure. Let's talk about the underrated noreturn attribute. Hello and welcome back. In today's video, we are going to talk about a lesser known but important feature in modern C++, the noreturn attribute. You might have seen this annotation in some code bases or documentation, and today we are going to break it down step by step what it is, when to use it, and what benefits it brings to your programs. Let's start with the basics. In C++, noreturn is an attribute that you can apply to a function to tell the compiler that this function is not expected to return. In other words, once this function is called, control flow never goes back to the caller. This is useful in scenarios where a function either enters an infinite loop or ends the program by throwing an exception or calling something like stdexit or stdterminate. It is how you use it. As you can see, this fatal error function is guaranteed to end the program. It prints the message and then calls stdexit, which terminates the program. Since the function never returns to its caller, we mark it with noreturn. But why would we want to use this? One reason is that it helps the compiler understand your code better. By explicitly marking a function as noreturn, you are giving the compiler a hint about the control flow. This can help it optimize the code more effectively or issue better diagnostics during compilation. For example, imagine the following scenario. If the compiler knows that fatal error is noreturn, it realizes that any code after that call is unreachable when the condition fails. That means no unnecessary checks or jumps are generated in the assembly, which can slightly improve performance or help detect dead code. Let's look at another common use case, throwing exceptions. Even though exceptions can technically return in a broader sense because the stack unwinds, the important point is that the function does not return to its caller in a regular way. So marking it as noreturn is still appropriate and helps the compiler understand the flow. You might be wondering, what happens if you use noreturn on a function that does return? Well, that's undefined behavior. The standard clearly states that if a noreturn function actually returns, the program's behavior is undefined. So only use it when you are absolutely sure the function never comes back. Now here is something cool. You can use noreturn with functions that are declared but never defined, like placeholders for fatal error stubs or system-specific traps. For example, this code. If this function is called and the linker can't find it, you will get a linker error. This is useful when building frameworks or APIs where you want to clearly signal a fatal path that must be implemented later. Lastly, let's address the formatting. Noreturn is part of C++'s standardized attribute syntax, introduced in C++11. It's more portable and consistent than older compiler-specific macros like declspec noreturn or attribute noreturn. That means your code is more cross-platform friendly and future-proof. So to summarize, noreturn is a useful attribute for making functions that never return. It helps with compiler optimizations, improves code clarity, and allows tools to better analyze control flow. You should use it for functions that terminate the program, throw exceptions without catching them, or loop forever. That's it for today's video. If this helped clarify things for you, give the video a like, subscribe, and check out the playlist on the screen. See you in the next one.